Sure.
interview. So let's get into it. Cool. So Michael, I'll just let you introduce yourself and the company,
Sure.
and I'll just ask you a bunch of questions, and we can just take it from there.
Sure. So my name is Michael Guimarin. I'm the co-founder of WordOut, which is a software SaaS with marketing and AI integrated to it, which is the best way to get the word out for new businesses. The goal of the product and of the company is to explore and help people leverage AI in marketing workflows. So we all sort of understand the marketing workflows. We understand that AI is going to be a big thing. And so we're trying to apply what we can currently do in AI to the marketing workflows in a way that, is an update from, circa 2011 Hootsuite. So
Makes sense. And we have been working on WordOut for a while now. It has been like really interesting. We started from nothing, and then we are now here. Can you talk about that journey? Like, how did we meet? Why did you choose us? How we built it? What did we
yeah, so I started my career as an engineer. I love making software, and there's only so much that you can do by yourself. At some point, you want people to help you. And so I looked in the market, found you and your team, and we hired you to help me specifically as the technical guy to build out this application, this MVP. And I really enjoyed working with you. It was fun. Everybody was quick. We had project management that was on point, and we were able to iterate very quickly so we put an MVP out. We got customer feedback, or we actually got prospect feedback. Then we made adjustments, and on and on and on. And now we have customers that are paying. So we're post-revenue startup. And now instead of focusing on functionality for the core product, we're now focused on, okay, what are the systems that we need in place to drive sales? But you can't drive sales to something that doesn't work. So what we have currently works. Now we just need to get a lot of people to see it and use it. So that's sort of like the next evolution. But you guys were really the pillar for getting us up and going and helping me to, there's tons and tons of tools, and to learn all of that stuff after being out of the software engineering directly game for years, it would have taken me a year. And you guys had an MVP within 6 weeks. And then we were able to iterate on a 2-week cadence after that, very, very quickly to, a full function SaaS app at this point.
Makes sense. What made you go with us?
I liked your audacity. So there's like a intangible quality for people where they want to succeed and they sort of figure out a way to succeed, and it's not really clear always exactly how, but they have like a vibe or an energy to them. And so, the way that it works is you want to find people that are competent. So you do a technical screen. And then once you've discovered that they're technically competent, then you have to see, like, is this somebody that I want to, email in the middle of the night because you're in India and I'm in the US, so we're exactly anti-clockwise for the time zone. Do I want to email this person in the middle of the night when the goddamn database broke or whatever it is, and the customers are angry? Right. And so, like, there's a lot of engineers that are really good, but you email them in the middle of the night with like an operations problem because you're running the software, and they get like upset about it. They're like, well, the users are stupid, or these people don't know, whatever it is, because it's their thing that they helped build. And, for me, I was like, okay, when things go bad, and they're going to go bad, like not a week goes by where we don't have things go bad. I want somebody who's going to be responsive, professional, and diligent. And that's what you guys have been.
Awesome. Makes sense. What has been on that same note, are there any instances where things were broken and it was, late at night for us or late at night for you, and we got it to work? Are there any instances where you were like, thank God these guys are not asleep and not responding?
Yeah, I mean, so the crux of our challenge was the time zone difference, because what would happen is people would start using the application in the morning on the East Coast of the US, which is, let's say, 4 a.m. my time. And so I'm not awake. And so then I would wake up to, hey, things aren't working. And so then I would email you guys and you're right about to go to sleep. And so then you're like, okay, yes, we can identify the problem, but we have to fix it tomorrow, which for us meant that I had to go back to my customers and say, okay, you have to wait until the next day. And that can be a challenge. But we got to a place where I was able to communicate and set expectations to the customers that when they found errors in the morning, East Coast US, that by the next morning, East Coast US, those errors would be fixed. And for the most part, that was what you guys delivered on. And I would say like identifying with that time zone challenge, which is sort of the remote challenge that we have, while initially it was frustrating, eventually I came to really like it because all of the deploys would happen in the middle of the night.
Yes, exactly. Makes sense. Working with Indian developers, like remote developers, and the communication within them is always like a headache. So it makes me want to pull your hair out. What was the communication between us like?
So there are cultural differences in development between the way things happen in the United States and my experience with working with Indian devs like you guys. I would not say that that was a problem for us. So the most common challenge for Indian devs is that when you explain something to them, they say, I got it. And in fact, they don't have it. That is the biggest challenge. In our case, you would acknowledge what I was communicating, and then we would have lengthy conversations back and forth until you and I were both clear that you understood what I was trying to communicate. And in the case where something was broken or not working, like you spec it to like 3 use cases and then somebody discovers 5 more that are just slightly adjacent, but it doesn't quite work for, we would always be able to replicate, use Loom and other tools to share that experience. And so it's very quick for us to get through those issues. And so while there were cultural issues in terms of, it's just everybody's different, right? Like you got the Eastern European guys, they always, rewrite the whole open source software to optimize 1%, and then you can't do anything with it. So, I mean, everybody you have to trade-offs with. And I think, the Indian devs problem, like I said, is usually like arrogance. And that wasn't something that I had an issue with you guys.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Makes sense. Post deployment, when the MVP was ready, um, what was the experience fixing the bugs that we had? The user feedback, implementing it. What was that workflow like when we were out of the standard waterfall? This is the MVP we are going to build. When we were more agile, what was that experience like?
Well, okay. I have built software for 15 years now professionally, and I would say that it is always exceedingly painful when you launch something that's brand new. And the thing that's exceedingly painful is that you work really hard to capture as much of the problem as you can and fix all of the issues in development. The challenge is that the moment that a user comes to use the product, they use it in a way that you did not intend and did not foresee. And I have never in my entire career gotten to a place where we could predict with an MVP exactly how the users would use it. I mean, if your MVP is one button and it does one thing, then okay, it's very easy to figure out. But the moment that you have any kind of complexity, they immediately find areas of non-coverage. And so for a user who is trying to solve their problem, and then the system doesn't work the way they think it can work, they become very frustrated. And what I have found is it's easy for the development team to also become very frustrated. And then everybody gets into a bad place because they're all very frustrated. And so when we originally had the MVP, there was that period of user frustration, and people do say like, I can't believe that it doesn't do this thing. And I'm like, wow, that's something I didn't think about and we didn't talk about and we didn't scope for and we didn't QA against in this whole process. And, you know, as a startup, you can't do 100% analysis before you get going. You have to start and you have to ship, and it's going to be broken or it's not going to work exactly how somebody thinks because you're inventing stuff. And I don't know. I don't know how to get around this problem, but I would say that having had this problem with every piece of software I've ever written and shipped, that your stoicism as in leading the team, the Indian side of the team. So you and I would have conversations, and then maybe I might have a conversation with a developer or two about a specific problem. Your stoicism and not being rocked by those issues was very helpful because they're going to happen. There's no way that they don't happen.
Makes sense. Any closing statements? Anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, I definitely have thought about making more SaaS products with you guys. And so if that's a testimonial, like I would do it again.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, thank you so much. That's it. That's a cut. Thank you so much, Michael. That's very
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the speed to MVP, the understanding,